listening to AstroDetectives, where longtime friends Scott and Sarah try to debunk
or prove
the ancient practice of astrology.
I'm Sarah Hartshorn, the astrologer.
And I'm Scott Randall, the skeptic. Each episode, I'll give Sarah two natal charts. One chart matches the exact moment of birth for our mystery guest, and the other is just a red herring.
I'll use astrology to detect which chart belongs to our guest. And with a little help from my underground network of AstroDetectives, this case is as good as solved.
Oh, we'll see about that. Hey there, AstroDetectives listeners. We are back, kind of. We're still working on season 3, and we're going to be back soon with updates about that, with some exciting new changes. But in the meantime, we know it's been a while, so we wanted to bring another case for you, another off-the-record for funsies case.
Yeah.
Which means we all have to have extra fun on this one. We get a lot of suggestions on the show, and one that kept popping up, Sarah, I know intrigued the astrologers. Can you talk a little bit about what's a little bit different about this week's special bonus episode?
Sure. Well, as you know, I've often lamented, gee, if we just had the other person here, this would make this process so much easier. You know, you've got two charts and one person, but if we had two charts and two people, I feel like that might make things a lot more clear, hopefully. You know, I feel confident, but I'm trying to straddle like being confident, but not being overconfident.
That's the process of the show.
It's a balancing act.
Well, I think this one could also be extra educational too, because you kind of know the two people you're working with and breaking down the charts with them and exploring their personalities, knowing that one of them they're both real, could be interesting. So, you know, records aside, because this one's off the record, let's have some fun with this episode. And if listeners haven't checked them out yet, these charts are available on the website, AstroDetectivesPod.com. Who hasn't been there in a while? I just assume our listeners are checking every week just to see what's going on, what's new. But that's where you get the charts and the surveys. And just based on these two charts and surveys, Sarah, is there a little bit you can tell us about the two characters that we're going to meet?
Yeah.
Both of who are real people?
Yes. And I'm already imagining that this is probably a couple, just based on the synastry of the chart. Well, and on their survey, they both put the same marriage date. But like, I could already sense this anyway. Like, why would you have two random people? I don't know. So, but anyway, we've got a Scorpio and a Cancer, two water signs. So already I like the synastry there.
What if they had put different wedding dates and it was going to spark a fight because somebody forgot their wedding anniversary?
Oh boy, that would be some good Venus retrograded Aries drama.
Sorry, but we got what, two signs?
Okay, so yes, we have a Scorpio and a Cancer. So these are both water signs. Water signs are about feeling and emotion and intuition and that kind of emotional realm. So these two signs would kind of understand each other in that way. But, you know, Cancer is different in that it really identifies with its feelings. It's feeling, you know, in the moment. It takes its feelings very personally, and it really wants to have these emotional connections with people. And Scorpio is a little bit more in the psychological realm, and it's about sensing the undercurrents of what's going on in the room, you know, and the unspoken things, uncovering truths, and things like that. So they are a little bit different energies, but still both working in the feeling sense. But, you know, beyond that, we've got some other interesting things. The one thing I'll focus on that really was fascinating to me that stood out, you know, when we look at someone's chart, we look at the elemental balance. So the elements are fire, air, earth, and water. And when somebody is lacking an element, it really stands out in their chart. So there's something about that element that person is kind of lacking. And so our Cancer person has not only no earth in their chart, but they have their south node in earth, which means like it's like a negative earth, So earth is something that makes people feel very grounded and practical and consistent. And so this person having a lot more air, fire, and water has a lot of passion and depth, but they might not have as much consistency and practicality. They may do things that are a lot more feeling based and a lot less kind of like just practical kind of considerations. And then so our Scorpio they have earth, so that's good because they bring that earth into the relationship. But they have no air. They have no air in their chart. And in addition to having no air, they have Mercury, which is how we communicate. And air is all about communication, but the planet Mercury also about communication. And their Mercury is on their south node. So again, that's like a drain on that air energy. So I feel like the Scorpio is already intensely kind of private and mysterious. And so to have no air and Mercury on the south node, this is someone that is going to be feeling very deeply, very intensely, very in that emotional world, but really struggling to verbalize their emotions and what they're feeling. So putting words to those feelings is going to be a challenge for them.
Well, we're going to try and get as many words out of both of these parties as possible.
Well, if one is less wordy than the other, then that'll be a big clue.
Well, anything else to cover before we do a quick little break and then come right back with our guests?
Nothing else to cover at this moment.
No, we don't have a guest astrologer to shed some extra light. And I don't have any wisdom to share on the subject.
You don't? You don't remember anything about Cancer and Scorpio?
Oh, don't get me started. But you basically covered what I know, I think.
All right.
The little crab's going to come out and talk, a little emotional crab.
And what about
and then it's going to creep back into the ocean. And then the Scorpio is going to come out and sting a couple people. And then it's going to crawl. I think they're going to crawl in the same direction, though, because this crab and scorpion are married. Okay. So they're just going to live near the beach.
Okay.
All right. Right after this, we're going to have that dynamic duo joining us. Hey, listeners. We're not just a podcast that tests astrology. We're an independent detective agency. That means we rely on you to help us keep the show running.
Exactly. By joining AstroDetectives on Patreon, you can support our mission to finally prove astrology is real.
Or, completely debunk it.
Here we go again.
One thing we can agree on, AstroDetectives is the only place you'll find astrologers and skeptics working together, like a buddy cop movie you didn't know you needed.
And trust me, detective work takes time, gathering evidence, late night stakeouts, solving cases, especially when Mercury's retrograde.
Okay, you can't blame Mercury.
The first step is easy and free. Just follow Astro Detectives on Patreon to get access to our debrief episodes where the conversation continues after each case ends. We break down what went right and what went wrong.
And if you want to fast track your training, become a rookie detective for only $3 a month. You'll unlock exclusive bonus episodes, plus early releases and the top secret case files sent straight to your inbox.
Or for just $1 a month, we'll make you an Astro intern. No compensation per se, but hey, you'll gain valuable detective experience and that warm, fuzzy feeling knowing you're helping us keep the lights on.
So if you like what we're doing and want to support us, head over to patreon.com/astrodetectives and join the investigation today. Welcome back, everybody. We are here with our guests. That's plural this time. Josh and Lisa, welcome to Astro Detectives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're excited to be here.
We're excited to have two guests. We were talking about how this has been a suggestion. People wanted to hear from two guests, but it's very hard to organize because people live very different lives. And therefore, if you had both of them on, it would be a lot easier to pick out which one belongs to the chart based on, place of birth and stuff. But you guys grew up in the same area and you have lived very connected lives. And so I think that it will be a little more difficult for Sarah to, pick out which one is right. But we believe in her, and she's going to be using her knowledge, her extensive knowledge of the cosmos, to try and figure out which birth chart belongs to you.
Wait, did you say you believe in me?
I do. I put that on your Google review too. Sarah has a new Google business that needs positive reviews. And I said, I don't believe in astrology, but I do believe in Sarah.
Yes. And maybe I should just put that out there, take a moment to say that I used to go under My Cosmic Coach, and I've rebranded my business under Hartshorn Astrology. HARTSHORNE. And so hartshornastrology.com, and more on that later.
And get at me if you need any solar panels, everybody. Still offering those. All right, on to the fun. First question's very easy. Tell us what you're wearing and if you have any tattoos.
You go first.
I am just wearing a long sleeve shirt and some basically running pants and some running shoes. And I have one tattoo on my forearm that says "Question Everything."
Ooh. What inspired that?
I used to be, in my younger days, I was a little more political, and it was one of my, one of my political stances, or a way to live that I always wanted to live. I wanted to be open to everything. So,
Love it.
Well, the skeptical crowd is nodding their head in agreement. Always be questioning. And Lisa.
I'm wearing a jean jacket and a purple floral dress, and I have no tattoos.
All right. Easy one. We start with the simple ones. Next, we have career and work history. If you could kind of just talk about a little bit of what you've been drawn to career-wise, or what you feel, especially fulfilled if you're doing work-wise, and what drew you to those roles.
You want me to start? Okay. So I have always worked in either education or social services. And so I think my motivation has always just been wanting to be in a career where I felt like I could help people. So my background is in psychology and then counseling and guidance. So and right now I work for a nonprofit and I love it. So I think that's just kind of always been my motivation, is how can I do something where I feel like I'm making a difference.
And can you tell us a little bit about the nonprofit work that you're doing now? And if you want to plug anything, please feel free.
Yes. Okay. So I work for Jasper County CASA, and CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. And those are community volunteers who basically are the voice for children who are in foster care due to abuse or neglect. And so as their staff member, I get to help with our fundraising, event planning, graphic design. I help with some marketing and communication. So I get to, write donor newsletters. But I'm also an advocate. So I have a case with 2 little kids that I'm the advocate for. And really what that means is you get to visit with your kiddo a couple times a month at least. You get to know them, find out if there's any needs that they have that aren't being met. And also just having fun with them. So I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. So we get together and just play a bunch of games. But my role is to make sure I'm reporting back to the court if there's anything that they need or that they're not getting that they need, and ultimately making recommendations. So there are CASA programs in almost every state. So if you have time and a heart for children, I would recommend looking into it, because there's always a need for more volunteers. There's never enough people to be advocates for children who are in foster care. So I recommend it to anybody. I love it. It's been an amazing experience.
Wow, great. And Josh?
Well, I went to photography school and graduated with a degree in commercial photography and digital imaging. And I spent about 7 years after graduation working as a freelance professional photographer, shooting anything from landscapes to portraits to tabletop commercial widgets or something for companies and stuff like that. But got out of that to get into something a little more stable. So I got into a mechanical service business, working, actually it was a family business. And I worked in that field for about 6 years, and then kind of moved on to construction. And when I was in construction, I was nurturing a new love of gardening and beekeeping. So when I left the construction industry about 5 years ago, I started a beekeeping company. So that's what I do now. And we sell bees and honey, and we do coaching services for new beekeepers who are interested in getting into it. So.
And is there
That's so cool.
any place that people can purchase some of this honey?
Yeah,
I know it's limited supply.
Our business is Summerfield Honey. You could find us at summerfieldhoney.com. And if you're local to the 4-state area around Southwest Missouri, there's you could look us up and come get some honey. Yeah, we're pretty small scale, so we sell out of honey every year. We sell out of our bees every year. So we're still building, but it's a really good community here that we have for beekeepers and our farming community.
Yeah, because the bees help the crops, so the farmers are happy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a reciprocal benefits. So it's they tend to like us, especially the ranchers who run cows, because the cows and the bees are pretty similar. They're just, one's a lot smaller than the other, but they're both herd animals, and they we both move them around. So it's interesting to see that side of it.
And then I never heard about selling the bees themselves, but I guess it's sort of like a herd where you say, okay, bees are moving over into this section. We're going to gather them, and you can't take too many because then the hive suffers, right? There's got to be I'm getting off topic into details, but I am just curious.
No, we typically take our stock of bees every spring and we triple it. So the extra third that we get, we sell off, and we keep the other 2/3 to make honey and to continue on our operation. But yeah, if you're doing it right, you typically can have about an extra third of your bees to sell every year. So if we didn't do that, we'd run and wouldn't be able to feed them all.
And Josh, I'm curious, what's your favorite thing about your job, or what do you get to do in your job that is like your favorite thing to do?
I love to be outdoors. It is one of the reasons I got into gardening, and I like to be independent. And the industry allows you to do a lot of different things day to day to keep it interesting. It's not for everybody, because it's any agricultural business. There's a lot of unknown that we go through every year. So wintertime especially is tough. But yeah, I always look forward to spring and summer because I get to spend most of it outdoors.
And what's something about your previous jobs that didn't work well with you?
It's been anything from trying to get along with the boss to trying to enjoy the job day to day going forward. I have bounced around a lot because I'm a naturally curious person, and I'm always looking for a learning experience. So sometimes if I feel like I've not mastered something, but gotten to a point where I know what it's going to be like kind of day to day, I sometimes go looking for something new.
So you like variety, and you don't want things to get stale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
Cool. Moving on. How would your friends describe you? And whoever wants to go first, we are purposely leaving it open just to see who's going to jump in.
I have probably quiet. I've been called quiet. I've been called shy. But also the people who get to know me, I can be very intense and get very excited about stuff, and can be loud and probably annoying. But yeah, I think that would be the biggest thing growing up. Friends would always want me to be a little more outgoing, and more talkative.
It depends. Once you find something you love, though, you're very talkative. Like with his beekeeper friends, it's like they could talk all the time, like nonstop about it. So yeah, I think it just has to be like something you're excited about.
Yeah, if you could be a bee on the wall in those conversations, you can get some real gossip. And Lisa, how would your friends describe you?
I don't know, what do you think? I mean,
I think they would say she's amazing, and really, she loves to help people.
sweet. I feel like I've been. It depends. The people that I get to know well, I think will say that I'm very honest, because I think most people will say like, "Oh, she's very kind, she's very nice," and hopefully I am. But if I really become like a good friend, like I'm gonna be honest with you about things. I'm not gonna hold back. So I think I can be funny with people that I know really well, but that's another side of me that I don't usually show too many people. Yeah. So, I think that's probably it.
There's layers. Yeah, there's Sarah's described it before. There's the person, as astrology describes it, the first layer when you first get to know somebody, and then as you know them more, these other characteristics start to come out.
Yeah.
And which one of you do you think craves more solitude?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
It's a really hard one.
Maybe me.
Yeah.
We both are very solitary.
Yeah, we live in the woods away from most.
I think we both need a lot of alone time to recharge. I think maybe I need a little bit more. But I think we're pretty even when it comes to that. Like we both really love reading. We both really like he talked about being outside, just having quiet space to just kind of think. We both love music. So I think it's a lot of the stuff that kind of replenishes us is pretty solitary.
No, but it sounds like, do you have a more social job, Lisa? Are you more interacting with people than Josh?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That could be a part of it too. Is like I'm out, talking, doing a lot of listening and a lot of like kind of creative, like working in teams to create marketing materials and things like that. So I think when I come home, I definitely need like a little bit of space.
Decompression.
Mine is more seasonal. I work markets, so I do meet hundreds of people every year. And talk a lot to them, but it's exhausting to me. After talking with people.
But you also enjoy it.
But I do.
He really likes it.
I do.
And you're good at it.
But most of the rest of my job
is that a challenge that you like, even if it, it sounds like if you're talking about something you love, then that flows. But is it kind of a challenge to be out there and talking to people all day? It can just get tiring, I think, if I'm talking about the bees or the business or selling honey, that I have it down where I can just I can do it without thinking too much, but at the end of the day I'm tired. It definitely takes it out. I wouldn't want to do a market every single day. Are you the type of is this kind of like sales that you're doing?
Yeah, direct sale to customers.
And what is like your sales approach to people? Do you kind of just try to keep it about the bees and your product, or are you good at like chit chat and being personable, or do you again try to keep it more about the product?
Mostly about the product, but I'll let the customer kind of dictate where the conversation goes. A lot of them come up and just want to talk about bees. They don't necessarily want to buy the honey at that point. Sometimes they do, but if they're talkative, I'll get talkative. If they're not, then I'll kind of just let them. I'm not going to hard sell anybody, because they can come up. We do a tasting, so they get to taste it So there's not a lot, it's pretty much the bees are doing most of the work. I'm just making it. I'm just setting the house in order for them to do what they do.
Cool.
So I try to customer this,
He is a really good teacher. So when people have questions, like he really takes the time to explain stuff, and he gets people kind of like excited about the industry. And then like if they're local, like invites them to our bee club meetings. And so I don't know, people really enjoy talking to him. I think like for him, it might not feel natural, but I think everybody really feels comfortable with him.
Okay, great.
The next question we have is how you handle difficult emotions, whether that's anger, frustration, or sadness. And the thought that came to mind for me was, say somebody walks up to that booth and they're like, I don't believe in honey. I think sugar's terrible for you, and I don't think that honey's a good product in general. And, like, what comes up when that person is standing in front of you?
Well, my aunt has never tried honey in her life, and I keep some of my bees at their house, my aunt and uncle, and I have the fresh honey for them every year. My uncle eats it. She just won't try it. So there's stuff that baffles me that people tell me about honey, but nothing ever gets me like too upset.
It's because ants don't trust bees.
Oh boy.
Sorry.
You'd be amazed how well they get along, these ants and the bees.
Right? I would love to be an ant that lives near a beehive.
No, they seem
Does it just drop down? But seriously, serious kind of, dealing with difficult emotions. How do you process them for each of you?
If I'm around people, I've had enough of customer service to not ever like blow up in front of people. I try to hide as much as I can my discontent, but I'm not the kind of person that's going to like lash out. But behind closed doors, I will tell my wife, I'll complain to her about it all day long, which isn't that great for her. Definitely my sounding board
It can be entertaining.
when it comes to that. Yeah.
I think you handle it well. You're good at talking about it. Like if he's feeling upset, like I feel like we have good conversations and we support one another a lot.
What about difficult feelings that come up in your personal life? I mean, you don't have to give us the details, but how do you handle that? Do you, just express how you're feeling, or do you have to go off and be by yourself and process things?
Well, I'll have my initial reaction that if it's family I'm talking to and going on, then I will, I'll express if it's frustrating, but typically I'll need some time to think some of it through, and I know that I'll be better. I'll have a better response if I give myself some time, because first reactions aren't that great.
And Lisa, how about you?
Yeah. If it's like a really intense emotion, I think I don't react like in front of people. I kind of just like store it away, and I'm like, I'm going to deal with that later. And typically I need to kind of be alone and like really think about it and kind of be, I don't know. I just need some space like to kind of process what I'm feeling. And then once I feel ready, then I can talk about it. But it would never be like in front of a group. It would only ever be one-on-one. Like if I'm unhappy with somebody, I'm never going to like make a scene. That's not my style.
Mm-hmm. Similar approaches. Sarah's nodding her head and taking notes.
Well, do you, Lisa, know how you feel when conflict happens, or do you need to process and think about and reflect on it, or do you just like have more clarity about your feelings?
I I think in the moment, like I definitely right away will know if I'm uncomfortable, and pretty quickly I'll know why. So I definitely like feel it in my body. Like I'm very aware of that, like of like if I'm getting really flushed, like if it's anxiety, or if I'm getting angry, or if I'm embarrassed, or if I'm feeling like I'm not being heard. But I feel like once I feel it in my body, then I can definitely be like, okay, I don't need to address this right now. Like I can kind of deal with it and then come back to it. So, and that's not how I've probably always been. Like I think when I was younger, I was definitely more like I would just get emotional and I wouldn't be able to like talk about it. Like, but now I think I understand. And so I can discuss it instead of just like going home and then crying and being like, why am I so upset? So I think yeah, I think
Do you
I've
think
learned. And oh, go ahead.
Oh, so it's easy for you or to maybe verbalize emotions that you're feeling. Whereas
To my
Josh, okay. And yeah, like verbalize your feelings, even if it's to yourself. And I'm curious if Josh, if you feel like the same, or if you feel like you need time to understand your feelings.
I don't need too much time. Typically, if I'm going to take time, it'll be because if I, if I'm talking to somebody directly, especially family, I'll want to, to think about it before I, give too much of my own opinion, I guess. But I think, yeah, I think I tend to know um, how I'm feeling, like given certain situations that come up.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Moving on to childhood and upbringing, just what thoughts do you have around that, or just how were things, and what were you like as a kid? Whoever wants to go first.
I'm gonna go first. Okay. I was very, very lucky. My mom and dad were both, they were awesome. They were very, very loving, provided a very stable childhood for me and my brother. So we just, I feel fortunate. Like I grew up in the same house my entire life, until I went to college, and, had a lot of the same friend group the entire time. So I just had a lot of stability. And I felt like I really got to be like, I got to be a kid. I got to be very carefree. I didn't have a lot of worries. And then when I was really young, I think I was really loud. I don't know, how much you know about this, Scott, but like I saw some videos of me when I was like a little kid, probably before I started going to kindergarten. And I was like, I feel like I was like a little ham. Like I wanted to like perform. I was very vocal. I like wanted everybody's attention all the time. And that's like not at all how I would describe myself now. And my mom said she thought it was like when I finally went to school, I realized like one of the teachers said something. She's like, the world doesn't revolve around you. Like it's not all about you. And I think at home, like I was used, I don't know, my brother's like 4 years older, and my parents, again, were very supportive and gave a lot of attention. So I think I just kind of was like, oh, I'm so special. And then I got to school and this teacher's like, you're not that special. And so I was like, okay. And so then I think I just got like quieter and quieter and just kind of like did the people pleasing thing and like wanting to get good grades. And so, yeah, I think I kind of just went inward a little bit. And I think now that I've gotten a little bit older, I'm like a little more comfortable just kind of being like speaking my mind, but still not trying to like, I'm not ever going to like intentionally ruffle feathers. But if I feel strongly about something, I'm not afraid to speak up.
And Josh.
Yeah, growing up, I had a pretty good childhood. Lots of adventures with my father when I was young, up until about 12 years old. And then, 12, my dad was in a motorcycle accident, and he was brain injured. And then he couldn't live at home, so he was in a facility for about 7 years before he passed away. So that was the big thing that rocked my childhood.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It was a big thing, and But actually, the year that my dad passed away, 2 months later, I met Lisa. So it was it was amazing.
A real up and down year.
To emotion. I mean, yeah, it was pretty intense.
Do you know, can you give me any dates, either when your father passed away or when you met Lisa? Like approximate time frame?
He passed away April 17th, and I met Lisa, I believe, August, maybe early August, or 6th or 7th.
And what year was it?
2002.
Okay.
Yeah, and what kind of a kid were you, Josh? Were you loud and boisterous, or are you more reserved? Or
Very, very reserved. Yeah, definitely shy. I'm outgoing now. You can't tell. This is outgoing. No, I was quiet, but I had a lot of friends. I played sports. I was always kind of a dreamer, kind of a kid. I liked to. I loved watching movies, but I would dress up as my favorite characters and act out their life. But yeah, no, I had a good time. I could keep myself busy as a kid, for sure, with my imagination. So,
What's like a character that you would dress up as?
Crocodile Dundee was
Oh,
probably
cool.
my name. Yeah, he looked like my dad, so he was always my dad was always my hero, and they looked very similar. So especially after his accident and after he passed, that's still a movie that I go back to all the time. He introduced that movie to me too. So
did he carry around a really big knife?
he gave me my first really big knife. I was 10 years old, and it was like a mini version of the one in the movie, and the coolest thing ever. We went camping in a cave in Ojai, and he rode Harley Davidsons. I would always ride on the back with him, so we'd go camping. He'd take me all over the place. But yeah, gave me my first knife in a cave in way outside Upper Ojai, and living a good adventure.
Nice. And you still have that knife?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Never have to use it, hopefully. Or you can use it for hunting or food or whatever. Use it for beekeeping to keep the bees in line. Okay, moving on to marriage and romantic partners. This one's an easy one. We've never had them literally in the same Zoom screen for this episode. But can you each kind of talk about, generally it's like the type of person you're drawn to, and then if you're married, your spouse. So that's kind of where we are.
Maybe you could talk about like what, how they help you, be a better person, or what you're drawn to in them.
Yeah, okay, what you're drawn to in your spouse. And how they improve you.
I'm drawn to Lisa's character. I'm drawn to everything about her, but the way she treats people, the way she, the way she treats me, and she's always been so supportive, and I don't know what I'd do without her.
I think a lot of that's the same for me. So I will be honest. Initially, when we first met, I just thought he was really attractive. It was very superficial. I just thought he was cute, and I had a crush, and I wanted to meet him. We grew up near each other, so that's like he's just a couple doors down. So I'm going to try not to give anything away because I know we're trying not to talk about age or anything. But yes, I just thought he was cute. But then once we met, the first night that we met, he was just so easy to talk to. I felt like I'd known him forever. It felt like he was like a best friend right away. And that almost never happens to me. Like I almost never meet somebody and just like immediately am comfortable with them. There's like 2 friends I can think of that's happened with in my life. But with him, it was just very much like, I don't know. I just felt like I had known him all my life. I felt very, like, I never felt worried about like, what was he going to think or is he going to judge me? It just, I don't know. They're just very loving, and so kind, and like really cares about his family and the people in his life. One thing my mom, just like when we were first dating, she was describing him, and she described Josh as earnest. And I was like, I think that's like a really good word. Just, yeah. So he's just a really good person. And I think he definitely helps me when I'm feeling insecure. Like I can go to him if I'm feeling like upset about something or like getting down on myself, and he can kind of like help me get me out of that mindset, which is really, really helpful. Very lucky.
And Josh, that timeline checks out. Do you remember seeing her in the neighborhood and thinking, I would like to meet her, and then finally at a party, or how does the finally the introduction you guys get to talk?
We met at a block party. And we were supposed to go down to the block party, but I had a pool table at my parents' house. So we went in and played pool the rest of the night and ate snacks. And I think we talked for 4 hours.
Oh yeah.
Straight.
Like just talked about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's, yeah, we forgot. We forgot that I was supposed to be bringing brownies that my mom had made to the block party. And I think I handed them off to my dad. And I was like, I'll see you guys later. So it worked out well.
It's like, wait, you don't want to go to the party either? Awesome. We were meant to be together. Let's move to the country. Let's see. We have like this list and we just slowly kind of hit each one. Were there any, especially Sarah, that jump out? Or should I keep on chugging through
just
here?
Just keep going.
Okay.
I'm kind of just checking something in the background. So
checking things in the background. Yeah. All right. On children, like I know you guys know kids. Ever thought about it, or how do you feel about kids in general?
Oh, gosh. You want to answer? You should answer this one.
We've talked about it. We talk about it all the time. But
is it one of those questions you get tired of?
Well, especially moving to the Midwest, you hear it even more on the coast. But yeah, it's not something that I don't think it particularly weighs on us too much. We go through moments where, it sounds nice, or we talk about adoption or foster. So it's definitely the foster / adoption route is still on the table. We're kind of letting things, we're letting kind of life play out. And right now we have our little dog who has been with us the whole time, and she's getting old. So she's been our priority at this point. So
yeah.
She takes a lot.
Yes, it's a village. Taking care of a senior dog. Yeah, a lot of we're focusing on her for the moment.
That's like a child right there. Yeah.
Yes, we love her very much.
On money and debt, how important is money to you? Like, there's sort of like different habits that people will have. Do you like save up for really big things, or do you like to just kind of easy come, easy go? What's your sort of relationship with money?
Yeah. I think we're a little bit different.
A little bit.
Yeah. Do you want to go, or you want me to?
Go.
I think for me, I definitely got it kind of like drilled into my head by my dad, is like, live beneath your means, save as much as you can, and be frugal. So I definitely am not at his level. I am willing to spend, we both really like to travel. So like, I'm willing to splurge on things like that, like a trip or an experience, like going to a concert or something. But I definitely like, I want to have savings and like, an emergency, like that to me is really important. Like for me to feel comfortable is to like, have that buffer in place. So that's kind of always in the back of my mind. It's like my dad's voice. Like, what would he do? What would you do?
And he would be happy to know that his voice is in the back of your head too.
Yes.
Right?
And I think he influenced Josh too, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say I grew up with the opposite. My parents, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but and they didn't exactly talk to me about saving much or anything like that. So it wasn't really until I met Lisa and met her family where I started to think about it more. And now it's definitely I'm much more on that. I on the saving track, and I have her dad in the back of my mind with almost every financial decision that comes up. Now it's always, he was very, very prudent and a great example, taking care of your finances, keeping your house in order. So
I just want to clarify. Oh, sorry, finish.
Oh, that I just strive to live up to those impossible standards, but I try.
You said that your parents didn't really teach you like savings and stuff like that, and you said that they did not. You didn't come from a lot of money, or you did?
No, it didn't come from a lot of money.
Okay.
We weren't destitute or anything, but it was just a lower middle class, and
Gotcha.
Every year was a struggle. In some way, I didn't know a lot of that at the time, but as I got older, learned more about it.
What did your parents do for work?
My mom was stay at home for a little while when I was younger, but then she worked for a church, administrative, on the administration side. My dad was a general manager for a car museum in Ventura County. So we got to see how he worked for a wealthy man, and we got to see how the other half lived, and he got to drive some of the cars home sometimes. So we got a taste of that, but it was at the end of the day, he was definitely still the manager, and the boss was the boss. So I think he struggled with that. It would have been one of his dream jobs, I think, if the pay was a little better. But that was something that he was always into cars and motorcycles and racing. So yeah.
Lisa, what did your parents do?
My dad was an environmental scientist, and my mom was a librarian when they were first married together, but when they met. But then once my brother and I were born, she stayed home with us, and so she was a full-time mom and ran the household, and she actually managed all of the finances. Like my dad kind of like put her in charge of the money as far as like paying all the bills and kind of managing that. So I had two very, very like financially responsible people as role models.
And then he wasn't just any environmental scientist. I remember Gene had some stories about, I mean, you think of being a scientist as being like in a lab all the time, and maybe that's where he spent most of his time, but he went like diving in risky places to collect samples.
Yeah, his job was super exciting. So he was out in the field a lot. I think, so he had his PhD, and so his specialty was like water toxicology. And so like if there was an oil spill, for example, he would be part of the team to go out and see how that was impacting the wildlife, and then how they could kind of do a cleanup to mitigate that. But he worked primarily, I think, with like fresh water. So again, if there was like mines, for example, and there was contaminants in the water due to the mining, then he would get called in again to assess the damage, and then how could they improve that so that there'd be, the aquatic life could be healthy again. So yeah, he traveled all over the world. I mean, he had some crazy stories, but yeah, he did scuba diving. I know he had to wear a dry suit because the water was so cold.
In Alaska.
Yeah. Where did he go where he needed to have, this was when he worked for Arco. They had to have like ransom.
Oh, he went to Yemen. He went to Yemen and needed ransom insurance for that.
Like, yeah, I get.
But I don't think you told your mom that.
He did not tell my mom that until after he got back. So he had a lot of adventures. He was just all over the world. And so once he was older, I think he like didn't want to have to travel anymore since he did it so much for work. But my mom really wanted to travel, so then I kind of became her travel partner because I think he was just like ready to be home for a while. But yeah, he had a lot of adventures. Pretty cool.
And moving on to health and self-care, any sort of like lingering issues health-wise that you're comfortable talking about, obviously, and any sort of self-care routines or things that you've found really just help you overall that you have found a way to implement in your life?
As far as health routines, I like to go to the gym, lift a little weights, play basketball. I used to be very big into dirt bike riding and mountain bike riding. I've kind of slowed down a little bit with that. But yeah, and then as far as self-care, any time I can get away, if we could get away to the lake or, sit out in the sun, read a book, those are definitely my go-tos.
Yeah. Same. I love, like the weather's been getting nicer. So just sitting outside in the sunshine reading, like I could spend pretty much a whole day doing that. But we do live near a very beautiful lake. So like going stand-up paddleboarding, that's really fun. And I do play basketball with Josh sometimes. That's like a fun way, but like working out at the gym a little bit. It's not like my favorite. I'd rather be outside getting exercise if I can, but when the weather's not good, I'll definitely go. But I have like regular stretches that I do every morning. So it's like a little bit of yoga and breathing. But like I have like an ongoing back issue that causes like sciatic nerve pain sometimes. So I'm very intentional about making sure I do my morning stretches so that I don't have to deal with that pain.
Yeah, we're getting to be that age. Is there like one stretch? Because I hear more and more people talk about sciatica, and I've had it like go down my leg, and a physical therapist said, do this and this and this, and it's amazing. It just if you do it enough, it's not like overnight, but if you do a couple stretches routinely, it just fixes it, or hopefully for a lot of people. So was that your experience?
Yeah, I had to go to physical therapy because I'd never had it that bad before. So basically, I don't know if it's age or whatever, but my two bottom vertebrae are like almost touching. So I had to like really strengthen my core and everything. So at PT, they showed me different exercises to do and different stretches. And so, yeah, it made a big difference. I went for about 6 weeks and now I can just kind of do it on my own and maintain. Also, one other thing I'd recommend, I do like medical massage every once in a while, so maybe every like month and a half to 2 months. And that's been really awesome. So it was recommended to me by my physical therapist and she's been great. She understands like back injuries and sciatic nerve pain. And so she's very intentional about her work and that's been helpful.
The back issue, what is that related to the sciatic or what specifically in the back was the issue?
Yeah. So I don't know like what caused it necessarily. And that's what they told me. It wasn't like I got an injury from something specific, but I was having really intense pain, like pain down the leg where it's like I was having like a pins and needle, like I couldn't even feel, like I was numb, like all the way up into my calf area. And then just intense pain. Like I couldn't sit comfortably. I couldn't stand comfortably. I could only like lay down and find relief. And so they took an x-ray and basically saw that those two bottom vertebrae are like, there's like nothing separating them, like barely any space. And so if it gets inflamed at all, that's when it touches the nerve. And then I have that issue. So everything they showed me how to do is like strengthening my back, strengthening my, core and I think just, doing exercises that aren't going to exacerbate it. So it's like, I'm not supposed to run and not supposed to do like sit-ups or arch my back backwards. So it's like just being intentional, like still getting out and being active because I love to do things, but not anything that's going to like make it flare up again.
So that was in like the lower spine area?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Got it. Have you ever had any issues like with your hands or elbows or anything?
No, not yet.
Nothing there? Okay. Josh, have you ever had any issues with your thighs or legs or anything like that?
No, I did have a back issue. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
I was in, you guys are going to laugh. I was in a rollerblade competition when I was in 7th grade, and I broke my back, broke my vertebrae between my C6 and C7. So I was out for 6 months and learned to play the guitar at that point.
Oh,
That
wow.
was my big injury. So that's a constant thing. But if I keep my core strong, I've been able to surf, snowboard, ride dirt bikes, mountain bikes. So it was close to being a disaster, but it wasn't. I was able to heal in about 6 to 8 months, I think.
Have either of you ever had any sinus issues?
Yeah, definitely. Being out, especially here, it's worse here than growing up on the coast.
Yeah,
I think.
like sinus infection. I don't get it too often, and actually, I don't have bad allergies here. I used to in California. Actually, it was worse.
Yeah,
we've kind of flipped. Yeah, it's gotten better now.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Were you a favorite to win that roller derby competition or roller, not skating? You said
rollerblade.
Rollerblading. That's right. Totally different.
Back in the 90s.
Like, were you thinking, I got this thing won, and then dang it, an injury strikes?
No, but I felt like I was looking pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. It was a bummer. Everybody was cheering, and I went up a 10-foot quarter pipe, came back down, and then my feet came out from under me, and the first thing that hit was my back, and the crowd just went silent.
Oh.
And I was able to get. I just got up and like kind of rolled off onto the sidewalk, and then fell into the planter, and then basically, my mom was there, and she took me to the ER from there. But I remember there was like everybody yelling, "Oh!" and then it was silent to make sure that I was.
I think about that anytime you see one of those players down on the field, like that experience for them when the entire like crazy crowd just goes silent. They're thinking, wait, this can't be good. Well, I'm glad you're better and you're surfing and active, and that we can smile about it. The next topic is just, how would you describe the last 12 months from today to a year ago? If there's a big theme or some area of life that has been especially front and center over the last 12 months, and it could be different for either one of you, or it could be the same. Actually, both think of one and then say it and see if you have the same one. That's what we need to do. We can't have them collaborating to get the same answer. It's like when you separate the witnesses, you put them in different rooms and you ask them the same question, and then you see if they come to the same answer. All right, you got your answers?
I don't know. That's a hard question. Do you have yours?
I think so.
Okay.
Give me
right.
whatever's been on your mind, or the most, for the last 12 months. Just a year in review. This was really, on my mind, or one of the most important areas. Like for some people, it's like, oh, we moved a lot, or it was getting my degree, or it was changing jobs, or it was, big life kind of themes. Did we give you enough time to think about it?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, contestant 1.
Maybe my business, with the beekeeping business, I've been reevaluating how things have worked, what didn't, and where I want to go with it. Do I want to even stay in the business? So there's been a lot of that has come up this year. Definitely. lot of some uncertainty about what to do in the future, but nothing that's making me particularly like nervous. Just wondering, what's next.
Mm-hmm.
I think my theme is probably like self-reflection for the last year. Kind of similar, like with my career. I sort of transitioned from a role that was more like supervisor, like a supervisory role where I was like really kind of in depth with like casework. And that was kind of weighing on me emotionally because we see and hear a lot of hard things in the field. And so I transitioned a little bit more to like I said, like more the development side. So like the creative, like graphic design, writing. And that's been a really good fit because I still get to do work that I believe in. And I feel like I'm making a difference. And I still get to have a case where I have little kids that I get to be the advocate for. But I'm not kind of overseeing a lot of different cases. And so that's been nice to kind of just like do that self-reflection and figure out what's going to be a better fit for me. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you know around what date you made this transition at work?
Yeah, July. It was July of last year.
Okay. Like beginning, middle, end?
When was it? Probably middle of the month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah's looking for correlations with the placements of planets and things like that.
Just wanted to look at that real quick. Yeah.
My last question, and then Sarah may have some follow-ups before she does a little huddle and kind of checks her notes and comes back with a guess. Media recommendations. Anything you guys are especially enjoying, music-wise, film, TV, podcasts, or just activities in general that you would like to recommend to the audience, or just things that you like sometimes that tells a little bit about you.
Right. You've been reading a lot.
Yeah. I like to listen to books on tape a lot, and I mean, I recommend anything by John D. MacDonald or Carl Hyacin or Elmore Leonard. I like a lot of crime fiction, nonfiction. I'm sorry, fiction, crime fiction. So
that's different than the true crime fans. You're like, if it's fictional, it's kind of better.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I like.
Gosh, those recommendations. Yeah, now I'm blanking.
It could be the last one you enjoyed or the last whatever.
A guilty pleasure, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I watch it, but I do find it entertaining. Like typically, like I would prefer to like be reading. I go to the library a lot and just kind of get like whatever, like mysteries or like cozy mysteries. That's a genre that I really like, or like kind of like romantic comedy type books. But when I do watch TV, I like extra trashy TV, like Bravo. So like I love Below Deck and I love Southern Charm, and I'm like embarrassed to admit that I like them, but they're just so entertaining sometimes. And I think I like Below Deck because you get to see them travel the world, and it's really beautiful, like tropical destinations. So that's really cool. And I admire the work that they do because it looks really, really hard, and I could never do it. And then Southern Charm, I think Charleston has always been a place I've wanted to visit. And so it's kind of cool just to see it. But it's like mindless entertainment. It's like nothing too bad ever happens. So it's like, it's just an escape for your brain. So, yeah.
And if you have a peaceful enough life, sometimes you want to invite all these people yelling at each other and arguing on a TV show like that. And then you can just turn them off and then go back to your life.
Maybe that's what it is. It's like drama, like you would think that inviting drama, but I don't know any of these people. So it's like, I'm not invested at all. I don't need to solve anyone's problem. It's like, I can just like pop in and then pop out. So, yeah.
I think my problem with reality TV was I would hold grudges I'd be like, how are you friends with them again? Do you remember what they did to you last week? That was like deal breaker.
You have to watch it just as entertainment. Like it's just meant to be entertainment. And it's probably, some of it's real, but I'm sure a lot of it is like scripted, encouraged just because it's going to be, good for TV.
I did used to watch The Bachelor for a previous podcast. And so I should appreciate the trashy TV.
Like that one, could not get on board with it. And I think it was, I would get angry at them. I'm like, are you interested in this guy? Like, I don't know. You could never sell me on it. I was just like, they can do so much better.
Everybody on there could do better. Sarah, any extra questions that would be a tiebreaker and help you pick the correct birth date?
Just two quick ones. I was wondering if either of you go by two names, like you might, go have like do either of you go by two names, if that makes sense? Like have a nickname, but like two names that people call you?
No.
Not at all? Okay. Are either of you into writing?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting into it. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it.
Okay. And what do you like to write?
Mostly what I've been reading. I like to write fiction.
Like crime fiction?
A little bit of crime fiction, but then some just not really sure. I'm still developing. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it. But yeah, if I were to write, that's what I would want to do well, is probably crime fiction.
Okay. Do either of you have a twin?
Nope.
No. Okay. All right. And then what is y'all's sense of humor? Like, what's the funniest movie? What's your favorite funny movie?
I love Dirty Rotten Scoundrel. I like dry witty. I don't know, maybe. Yeah.
I think I just like goofy. So I love Old School. I love Wedding Crashers. I just, just kind of the classics. Easy A is really funny to me. Again, if no one has seen that movie, it's old with Emma Stone, but I love that one.
Okay.
Go with it if it's on.
Oh,
TV,
yeah. I don't always love Adam Sandler movies, but just go with it. I like. That one is pretty funny. Nicole Kidman has a nice little cameo appearance. Her character is really entertaining. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, lighthearted, just like fun, goofy movies.
Okay. All right. I think that's pretty much all I'm going to ask.
All right. So what we do here is we put you back in the waiting room where you can have a little break, like 10 minutes, 15, and then we'll bring you back in, and then Sarah's going to let us know which chart she thinks matches each of you, and we'll see if she's right. All right?
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Let me see if I remember how to do this, because we've been off for a little while. Put in waiting room. Oh, good. There's the button. They haven't changed it. All right. So we'll see you guys back in a little bit.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay, Sarah. You don't have anybody to talk to about your thoughts on the case. You can talk to me, but I know the answer, so I can't really talk back very much.
Yes.
So maybe you can just do a little mini dialogue of what you're pondering, and I won't give any reactions that give away whether you're on the right track or not.
Okay. Well, I mean, I kind of am feeling like I guess it was kind of turned out what I expected. So she kind of presented like to be the one that was a little bit more talkative. And I also noticed that she was talking with her hands quite a bit. And, I regret I did not give the big three of each of these charts, but hopefully if you are playing along, you've already got them in front of you. So our Cancer sun is a Gemini rising with Mercury in Cancer, and they are a Leo moon. And the reason why I really am like thinking she is the Cancer is because Gemini risings often are a little bit more talkative, talking with her hands. And then that Leo moon really likes to connect with children. So does the Cancer energy about nurturing, taking care of others. And she even said, like, in her childhood, they told her she was like a ham, and that's such a Leo moon kind of energy. And then him, I'm thinking, is a Scorpio, because especially a 12th house Scorpio, a lot of energy in the 12th house, and Mercury on the South Node is going to be someone that's going to be a little bit more shyer, reserved, not really as talkative as maybe a Gemini rising would be. And so the Scorpio sun, I should say, has a Sagittarius rising with Jupiter in Capricorn, and a Pisces moon. And so to me, those placements, like so a Sagittarius rising is also going to be a sign that is going to be drawn to like sports and things like that. And he mentioned sports. And then Sagittarius, being ruled by Jupiter, is placed in Capricorn, which makes it his chart ruler. And Capricorn is going to be a little bit more stoic and reserved with their how they come across. And again, that like, so he also talked about his father passing away in a motorcycle accident when he was young. And we often see Sun in the 12th house, especially in Scorpio with Pluto. I mean, that's a lot, and Saturn there. That's a lot of energy around kind of like loss, especially associated with like father figures and things like that. And I pulled up the date of the father's death, and that Scorpio chart had Pluto conjunct the South Node on their Venus in the first house. And to me, that was very kind of like indication of like kind of a painful loss there. And so also kind of like working with bees is kind of like a, this Scorpio chart has a Mercury Virgo, has a Virgo 10th house of career. And we look, where is Mercury? It's in the 12th house in Scorpio on the South Node. So that's already telling me that this person might struggle with finding like the right career. They might, try different things out. But like it also being in Scorpio in the 12th house, that could be working with something dangerous like bees. And in a way that's kind of like, Scorpio's about transformation. I just realized that. And bees are like literally like making honey. That's kind of a transformative type of role. So, that, I could go on, but I will try not to. But that's just kind of like what I'm feeling. So I'm feeling like she's the Cancer, and I'm feeling like he's the Scorpio.
And this is where Scott comes in. Next season, look forward to it. Scott's going to come in and he's going to have his own opinion that I'll be weighing. But I do know the answer this time, so I cannot give any opinions.
Okay.
But I'm looking forward to throwing in with the astrology crowd and being like, no, Sarah, listen, I know where you're coming from and I know all the experience you have, but based on my limited sun sign knowledge, this is what I think was going on.
And you're gonna take it seriously, right?
I will, even if I don't think that it's leading me in the right direction. If anything, I think I might be able to pick up on hints that a person might be dropping based on their knowledge of their sign. So I will be looking for it. I'm not doing it as a mockery or anything like that. And that is,
I think that's cool. I like that.
It'll be fun for listeners to practice. But until we get to season 3, we got a case on our hands right now that needs to be solved. Speaking of our crime fiction, this is true crime though. Well, there's no crime. This is a mystery. We're solving mysteries and cases.
Yeah.
Let's take a break and come back and see if Sarah has solved this case using the power of the stars. Right after this. Hey listeners, we're not just a podcast that tests astrology. We're an independent detective agency. That means we rely on you to help us keep the show running.
Exactly. By joining Astro Detectives on Patreon, you can support our mission to finally prove astrology is real.
Or, completely debunk it.
Here we go again.
One thing we can agree on, Astro Detectives is the only place you'll find astrologers and skeptics working together, like a buddy cop movie you didn't know you needed.
And trust me, detective work takes time, gathering evidence, late night stakeouts, solving cases, especially when Mercury's retrograde.
Okay, you can't blame Mercury.
The first step is easy and free. Just follow Astro Detectives on Patreon to get access to our debrief episodes where the conversation continues after each case ends. We break down what went right and what went wrong.
And if you want to fast track your training, become a rookie detective for only $3 a month. You'll unlock exclusive bonus episodes, plus early releases and the top secret case files sent straight to your inbox.
Or for just $1 a month, we'll make you an Astro intern. No compensation per se, but hey, you'll gain valuable detective experience and that warm, fuzzy feeling knowing you're helping us keep the lights on.
So if you like what we're doing and want to support us, head over to patreon.com/astrodetectives and join the investigation today. We've got a mystery to solve right here, and it is which birth chart belongs to Lisa and which one belongs to Josh. So we're back from break. We've got Lisa and Josh here with us again. Sarah has made her choices based on your answers and based on the positioning of planets and constellations and who knows what else is going on out there in space that she's looking at and has a correlation with your lives or not. She is leaning towards which I normally say one chart over the other, but here matching which chart is Josh's and which one is Lisa's. So before I get too tongue-tied, Sarah, do you want to, guess one of them, and then we'll see if it's right? You both know your sun signs, right? Like when people. Okay.
So that's the main one, right?
Right. That's the main one. Yeah.
Like the one that everybody knows. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, here's that nervous feeling in my stomach again.
Have you missed this? This has been a couple months since Sarah has gotten this nervous feeling.
Oh my God. Why does this happen to me? I think it's because the more confident I get, every time I think, oh my God, this makes so much sense and I feel confident, then I get nervous because I'm like, what if I'm wrong? That'll be so embarrassing.
We like to really play up this part because the pressure is off the guests. They've done everything we've asked them to do. And now the astrologer has to squirm.
Yeah, I'm definitely squirming quite a bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna rip off the Band-Aid.
Well, let's keep that Band-Aid just slightly ripped and just slowly. Regardless of how this goes, we usually do a little after show called the debrief where we kind of talk about what went right and went wrong and try and match up a little bit of extra info. If you guys have time, we'd love to have you stick around for that. If not, we understand. But would you be able to join us for the debrief? It's like maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We're here with our dog.
Perfect. All right. So right or wrong, we're going to talk about the case in depth, everybody. So tune into the debrief. But let's get back onto this Band-Aid and just pick away a little bit. Sarah, are you in more discomfort?
Yeah.
Great.
Just trying to breathe through it. Okay. I don't know why I get so worked up, guys. I'm sorry. Okay.
We're just having fun here. This one doesn't even count. This is for funsie.
I mean, it always counts to me. I want to know that I'm doing, I'm making sense of this, It means a lot to me. So, all right. So, Lisa, I have you pegged as the Cancer.
I am the Scorpio.
Oh,
Oh no. I had to make sure I wasn't giving anything away when she was telling me which way she was leaning.
So Josh, you're the Cancer?
am the king.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, not much has changed over here.
We're back, 2025. No, but the fun part is the extra answers that we get to do and figuring out what led Sarah in that direction, because she was listening to the answers and she got one character description kind of in mind. And it's fun to see what led her in that direction. And then kind of just, if you have a general interest, what your charts kind of say about either of you. We're going to do all that in the debrief for Patreon subscribers. It's an extra little fun over there. In the meantime, Lisa, and then I'll go to Josh. But Lisa, do you want to let us know again where people might be able to get involved with their local chapters of the organization that you work with?
Yeah, so just do a search for CASA. So it's Court Appointed Special Advocates. So look in your city or even just in your state. Like I said, they're in every state except for North Dakota. I'm not sure why they don't have a program yet, but they probably will in the future. But yeah, you can search for CASA in your state or near your city, and you can just contact the program. Most programs will have information sessions that they host regularly. We have a building, so we allow people to come in and take a tour and just kind of ask questions of our staff and other volunteers, just so that they can kind of learn what it means to be an advocate. But like I said, if you have a heart for children and you have a time to dedicate maybe like 10 to 12 hours a month, it's a really kind of unique, one-of-a-kind volunteer opportunity. One of our taglines that we say is it's more than volunteering, because it really is. You're getting involved in these children's lives. You're getting to know their teachers, their family members, foster parents, healthcare providers, and just trying to kind of make sure that they have everything that they need, and really just being the voice for them, not only in court, but also just a support to them. So like with my little ones, you just get to be a person that they can come and have a good time with and be a kid. So in that the chaos of foster care, where there's so much change and uncertainty, and it can be really scary, it can be frustrating, especially for our older youth, like our teens might feel like they don't really have a voice. It's just a chance for you to get to be there for them and be a consistent adult in their life. Sometimes they don't have one adult that they can count on. They might change schools or caseworkers. So CASAs really do make a big difference. And I encourage anyone to just look into it and see if it's right for you.
And Josh, not just where people can get the finest honey available to them, but what is special about honey and why people should have more of it in their diet and appreciate it?
Well, it's a great alternative to sugar. It's much better for our bodies than sugar. Our bodies metabolize it a lot better, and even people with diabetes, some of them can still have honey where they wouldn't be able to have any kind of refined sugar like that. But
we're not allowed to make medical claims.
Yeah, I can't make any medical claims. But consult with your doctor before eating.
But you can say, personally, I've noticed a difference.
Yeah. Personally, I enjoy it. It's a special product, and I love getting to work with the little bugs that make it. So.
And where can people get the finest honey in the land if it's not already sold out?
Well, we are sold out until July. When we harvest every year in July, but you can find us at summerfieldhoney.com or on Facebook at Summerfield Honey. Do
you guys do pre-orders?
I do for bees, but not for honey.
Oh, okay.
we just don't. So I try not to. Yeah.
But Scott, we'll make sure we set some aside for you.
Yeah.
That was mainly what I was concerned with.
It's like we always asking for you.
we always have a little bit of family.
Yeah.
And all Sarah right. As well. And Sarah too. Sarah, yes. You like honey, right?
I love honey. Who doesn't love honey? Except your aunts.
Apparently. we know somebody. Well, everybody listening at home, that's it. Let us know what you thought by commenting on whatever platform you follow us on. Links to our accounts are in the show notes. If you like the show and want to support it, you can visit patreon.com/AstroDetectives. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Here we go. I'm rusty after the break. So you don't miss the next episode, rate and review and tell your friends. This conversation continues on the Patreon-only debrief. And until next time, this bonus episode is closed.